Women just simply aren't built to struggle. That's why that woman refuses to build with you, quote unquote.
Then tell me why women are actually the ones who can go to work, have a day, and come home and still show up for their families. If women aren't built to struggle, then tell me why a broke man is a mean man.
The worst thing a woman can do, statistically speaking, is to get married to a man. Married women do not live as long as single women. They do not earn as much money as single women. They are not as happy as single women. They are more likely to suffer from addiction than single women. They are more likely to commit suicide than single women. They are more likely to die of homicide than single women.
Women will often compromise themselves in order to secure the relationship, while men will compromise the relationship in order to secure themselves.
What have you given up in a relationship?
Oh, man. So much.
Do you feel the difference between compromise? Do you feel like there's a difference between compromise and sacrifice?
I think men always have to do a little bit more, honestly.
Sometimes you just kind of gotta laugh at the stuff men be saying, because it is so astronomically laughable and false. You just know in your heart of hearts they're trolling. Like you gotta be joking, right? I hear it every day. Like I hear something new every day that a man says, and I'm like, this is very interesting to hear from a man, because I thought we all knew that this was the opposite of the truth. Like even before I started doing any unpacking or anything like that in my own misogyny, there were just certain things you couldn't tell me. Like I would just reject them on their face, because it would just be dumb. I would just be like, what? Maybe stats, none of that, all that aside, it would just be like stuff that I would know, because I'm like, everybody I know, this is the reality, right? You know how many men I know, including myself at one point in time, we wouldn't probably even have gotten a job without a woman helping us. I know men that wouldn't have places to live if they didn't have a woman at one point in time. I know men that, aside from them, just men in general, like single men, how little they have versus when those same men get into relationships with women, and the abundance that ensues is crazy. So listening to men say very odd things about women, like what we're about to listen to, it kind of blows my mind. But also, there are a lot of these men on social media, and I've peeped, there's like a different level, there's a different type of man. So they're like the overt misogynistic men. I won't say racist because they're like the same thing to me, but there's like the overtly misogynistic men who literally say the opposite of the truth. Like 100% it's the opposite of the truth. Like everything they're saying. It's just they take the thing that women are experiencing, they flip it around, do the Darvo shit, boom, right? They're always trying to demean and degrade women, like you have to protect women from themselves because women are dumb. Like they say stuff like that. They're very overt with it. And then you have like the covert misogynists, or they're more covert. I think they're not as overt. I would say that I clock them a mile away. They sound ridiculous to me, but I peep when I go to their comments. They have that Kevin Samuels effect, even with women. And, they have this Kevin Samuels effect where, since they are condemning men to some extent and they're calling out like a problematic behavior in men, a lot of women will be in the comments and they'll be like not clocking all the other misogynistic things that this man has said. And I'm like, that's odd, because it just goes to show you it works both ways. Because I talk about that with men, how men sign up for Kevin Samuels, and I talk about how women also sign up for men. Like a lot of women like Kevin Samuels too, but they liked it for the opposite too. Like they liked that Kevin Samuels would call me and broke and be like, y'all got to get y'all money, not y'all got to get y'all money up, not y'all funny up, blah, 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 blah. And then they would ignore all the problematic shit that Kevin Samuels was saying that was like 10 times more, detrimental to men and women than any ancillary, bullshit advice he was giving in way of like, or to the degree like oh man, you need to have a job. You need to wash your ass. You need to wear cologne. Like the advice he gave never outweighed the harmful shit that he said, right? And this is just another example of that. This is what we call the benevolent misogynist.
Women just simply aren't built to struggle. That's why that woman refuses to build with you, quote unquote. And frankly, I don't think they're wrong for that. Truth be told, they're not wrong for that. It's not wrong for a woman for you to want to pursue a woman. She take a look at the life that you are living, decide that there is not enough provision here for her, and then decide to leave. Regardless of how she might feel about you, regardless if she's attracted to you, how she love you, like you, or whatever, if there is not enough provision there for her, she has every right to leave.
That's the part, obviously. Did you hear it? You hear the sleight of hand? That's the part that's like, yes, I respect that as a man, as a human. Women don't owe me anything. So if a woman, gets to know me and then she sees my financial standings, my socioeconomic standings in the world, and she goes, that's not enough for me. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think that's shallow. None of that. I think that is 100% her right to do that. And she should do that, right? Because I would hate for her to get with me and then expect me to be able to provide, what I'm saying, well beyond my means. Like that's unfair for me and her, right? So yeah, leave me alone. That's fine. But did you hear the first part? That women aren't built to struggle. Now, let's keep going, because that's the part that's like red flag, right? Like, what do you mean women aren't built to struggle? Listen.
She has every right to leave because they're just simply not built for hard times. They don't have that same amount of resiliency. They're not programmed from the time of being a boy to trade their mental and physical labor for monetary gain. As men, we understand a stay down till you come up mentality. That's just not how women are raised. It's why provision and providing are so paramount to their existence. Because at the end of the day, right, like as men, we always understand that, again, I can go lay some brick, I can go move some dirt, I can go do the world's shittiest job, literally, and be able to make some type of money and pull myself out of this hole. Women don't necessarily have that option.
Let y'all tell it they can always just sell their bodies, but whatever though, we're gonna ignore that. Men just be saying any fucking thing. But yeah, so it's men have been taught to, go to work and stay down and stay humble until they come up. Okay, then tell me why women are actually the ones who can go to work, have a shitty day, and come home and still show up for their families. If women aren't built to struggle, then tell me why a broke man is a mean man. tell me why a broke woman isn't mean. Like I've met plenty of poor women and they're like lovely to be around. You wouldn't even know they were poor. But a broke man, evil, devious, harming everybody in his fucking path. That also goes for wealthy men too. But you know what I'm saying? I think there's definitely like a point when it comes like you make too much money. But like, the men that are less likely to be that, wild, because I think that most men are not good, rich or poor, but you find like the worst of the worst men, either extremely wealthy or poor, right? Extremely wealthy or poor. So two extremes, and that would make sense. But poor women, no, poor women are awesome. Poor women are awesome. And you know how I know? Because men literally say all the time that men don't care about how much money a woman makes. If poor women were mean and poor women were not good people and not decent people, then men wouldn't be running around saying that. Oh, we don't care how much money a woman makes. I don't care how much money I make. I can marry a woman that works at Starbucks. I can marry a woman that works at McDonald's. Yeah, because poor women aren't mean. Poor women aren't devious. Poor men are, though. Miss me with that women aren't built to struggle bullshit. What the fuck are you talking about?
So for them, they make the wrong choice. They're fucked. So yeah, of course, if they come into your life and they see that there is not enough provision there for them, they will leave, and they have every right to. That's just the way the game goes. That don't make her a gold digger. That don't make her wrong. That don't make her a bad person. That is just simply a woman.
So listen to what he's saying. Again, more misogyny. So women, they want men who can provide, right? And he's saying that they will leave a man if he can't provide. Like, not even like they will get with the man and then he was providing in the beginning and then he no longer provides or doesn't want to provide and then she'll leave him as like a consequence to his actions, right? Not even that. He's basically just saying, and he tried to mask it like, oh, women are gold diggers or whatever you want to call it, you're saying that women are shallow, essentially. When we all know that that's not true. When we all know if that is the look, and I'm going to get in, we're going to get into it. I don't want to bury the lead, as they say, but I'm going to show you why that is fucking complete nonsense. What he's saying. If women aren't built for the struggle, then explain this.
The worst thing a woman can do, statistically speaking, is to get married to a man. Married women do not live as long as single women. They do not earn as much money as single women. They are not as happy as single women. They are more likely to suffer from addiction than single women. They are more likely to commit suicide than single women. They are more likely to die of homicide than single women. They report themselves in every single way that you can measure sociological data for wellness as being less contented than single women. Conversely, married men, on the other hand, married to women, outperform single men by such a measure that it is perhaps the healthiest thing that a man can do is to get a woman to marry him. Married men live longer, they're healthier, they make more money, they advance more in their careers, they're more creative, they're less likely to commit suicide, they're less likely to die of homicide, they're less likely to die in car accidents in every single possible way. The best thing a man can do is to get married to a woman. The worst thing a woman can do, statistically speaking, is to get married to a man, because what happens is it's called the marriage benefit imbalance. Those imbalances are exactly equal, meaning the percentage of herself that a woman gives to a man, she loses and he gains. So she's literally giving her life to him, years of life, prosperity. It's a literal exchange. The worst thing a woman is more likely to.
So riddle me this, buddy. If women aren't good at struggling, then why do they fare better when they're single versus when they're married? And conversely, like she said, why do men fare better when they're married versus when they're single? Statistically, that's not my opinion. That's not her opinion. Everything she said, I've seen it before, written, studied, surveyed. Scientifically, it's acknowledged. That doesn't make sense. We can disprove that theory that women aren't built for the struggle. Women are the only motherfuckers built for the struggle. Men aren't. Men are coddled. Men are excused at every conceivable turn. That is not how you are. That makes you not built for the struggle because you never have to take accountability or responsibility. Women taking care of the children, struggling. I'm talking about single women, single mothers, taking accountability for their actions, being responsible for the kids. If that don't prove that women are built for the struggle and men aren't, I don't know what does. 1/3 of all children will not see their fathers past the age of 3. You're telling me that same group of people is built for the struggle, but the women aren't? 1/3 of children are not seeing their fucking mothers. I can assure you of that. I can assure you of that. The vast majority of children, whether their father is in the home or not, are raised by their mothers primarily. Not built for the struggle? Please. That benevolent misogyny is wicked. It's such a sleight of hand, right? They mesh it in. To me, he did a terrible job of it. It was obvious what he was saying, right? But some people do it better. You know, I pretty much clock it every single time. Like same thing with like Professor Odie, like all those dudes. I always peep the benevolent misogyny. Always. I'm always like, it doesn't make sense. And that's why it's important when people say I don't like choosing sides and I'm not on one side or the other. That's how you end up falling for the benevolent misogyny. That's how you end up just being a regular old misogynist, right? Like the saying goes, stand for something or fall for anything. You got to stand on business. I stand on business all the time. I believe in the things that everything that I say, I believe in. I'm not just saying it. So it's hard to trick me. It's hard for me. That's why you very rarely, I don't have to like go back on my word or be like, well, I actually got that completely wrong. And I apologize for saying that about women. And I don't have to do that shit. That's not because I already know. I know what's up. It's the whole situation is very clear. What's going on is very clear, right? And when all else fails, my my safe space is if I don't know something, my gut always tells me reject everything that men say as a group. like like if I go on a post and there's a bunch of men in there and they're like, "You go off, King," I'm like, even if it sounds whatever to me, even if I don't clock some, I'm like, "Oh, give me a second." Again, rare as fuck. It's so rare that I like listen to a man be misogynist, go to the comments. There's a bunch of men in there agreeing with him, and I didn't clock the misogyny. I'm saying rare, but I've never experienced it. But that's it. Like whenever I'm in doubt, I just look at what the men are saying, and whatever they're saying, I'm doing the opposite of that. Let's talk about how this looks in a relationship, right? What does being built for the struggle look like? Right? A huge part of being built for the struggle looks like this.
Women will often compromise themselves in order to secure the relationship, while men will compromise the relationship in order to secure themselves. And this problematic dynamic shows up especially, yet not exclusively, in hetero couples. A couple of the contributing factors are: one, the beliefs and behaviors related to gender roles that are conditioned, such as that it's a woman's responsibility to tune into and meet the emotional and relational demands of her partner and their kids if they have them. So she develops an interdependent mindset and relational thinking, and that it's a man's responsibility to tune into his career so that he can meet his basic needs and the basic needs of his partner and their kids if they have them. So he develops an independent mindset and individualistic thinking. Two, the entitlement that's conditioned in men. In a patriarchal society, men have been conditioned to feel entitled to a woman's desire, her body, her time, her nurturing, her presence, her love. In essence, they've been conditioned
Her money.
to feel entitled to so many of her valuable personal resources. And if you doubt this, observe what happens when a woman who's been compromising herself in order to prioritize her relationship, to stay in it, gives herself permission to leave. His entitlement will kick in, and you'll see it.
He'll become violent. A lot of times, that's when the women, women will be in relationships with men. He's never shown any signs of violence. The day she says no, the day she says I'm out, is the day she never makes it home, the day she gets killed. Like that's happened a lot. A lot of times, it's not, most of the time, obviously, the man is violent the whole time. Don't get me wrong. But so many times, the man is not violent. The man hasn't shown any signs of aggression towards the woman. I forget that woman's name. I'm so sorry because there's so many instances of men committing heinous acts of violence against women. But that one woman who posted the video, and she was like, "Me and my husband are getting divorced, and it's so amicable." And da 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 da. And she was glowing, and she was talking about how cool it was. And then 2 days later, she died. He killed her. Yeah, that's common.
And you'll see it in terms of his shock, his indignation, his rage, his lack of curiosity and accountability in terms of what happened. As Kate Mann states in her book entitled, recent research suggests that women in heterosexual couples are held to a higher standard than their mates. All we have to do is take a look around us to see that lack of equality is clearly harmful. I can tell you from personal experience, as well as from working with my coaching clients, that if one partner is overburdened with filling the void of the relational awareness and skills that the other partner hasn't yet developed, not only will the overburdened partner suffer, but the relationship will suffer. The only way you shift this dynamic is for both partners to invest equally in their personal and relational growth. Here's a place to start. Sit down with your partner to identify and explore the mindsets, beliefs, values, and behaviors that you're each bringing to the relationship. Get as specific as you can, and then discuss how all of that is going to impact the equal investment and nourishment of both of you and the connection.
Essentially, what do you bring to the table? But way more in depth. I love the what do you bring to the table conversation, by the way. I don't shy away from it. I love it. I think more people should be having, what do you actually think you bring, especially once you're in the relationship? because you could tell me whatever beforehand. But when there's a disconnect, I think it's important, like she said, to sit down with your partner and be like, what do you think you're like? How do you believe you're showing up for me? Right? Like, what do you think is going on? Tell me, because obviously there's something going on. I'm telling you, you're not showing up for me, and you keep fighting me on this. So there's a disconnect here. So obviously you think you're doing something that I don't think you're doing. Tell me what you think you're doing, right? That conversation definitely needs to be had. But that is very counterintuitive to everything that dude was spewing, that bullshit that he was talking about as far as women not being built for the struggle. That what she just said, again, scientifically proves that women are indeed built for the fucking struggle. Men are not. Entitlement does not make you built for the struggle. Entitlement makes you soft as baby shit. I'll prove it. Listen to a man get asked, what does he have to compromise in a relationship? Listen to his answer.
What have you given up in a relationship?
Oh man, so
and
much.
Do you feel the difference between compromise? Do you feel like there's a difference between compromise and sacrifice?
I think men always have to do a little bit more, honestly. That's my honest opinion. Men always have to do a little bit more compromising, a little bit more.
And why?
Going against science. Going directly against science. Science says that men do not sacrifice more than women. Men have more hobbies than women when they get married. They make more money. What are you sacrificing? You're happier. What are you sacrificing? Going against every scientific point in a marriage and in a relationship. Yeah. And you wonder why men and women can't get along in relationships. Because men are fucking deluded.
Men always have to do a little bit more compromising, a little bit more.
And why?
And it's not by a lot. It's not like, oh my God, but it's a little bit more. We got to swallow the pill a little bit more than you guys, I believe.
Expand.
I mean, he's just true.
It's
Explain.
just
I
a
wanna hear
little bit
why.
more. Okay.
I want to hear why.
Okay.
Because we got more ego too, like to drop
Yes,
stuff. And,
that
being the
I
man.
think the
and we looking
strength.
like we the king.
Yes, I agreed, 100%. I think the
You know?
strength is in that. I feel like I've been able to be very apologetic and accountable, and I feel like a lot of times, the majority of the times, my partner has not been. Even over something small, right? Like I've done something small and I've been like, look, I want to apologize to you because I kind of had a bad day, and I can do that, right? It's easy for me because I want you to know that you're not the issue. I'm going through something, and I allowed that to hang on to you, and I apologize. I've been in situations where that can linger for days, 4 or 5 days, and now I'm effing feeling weird because you're having an issue, but you don't know how to communicate that issue to me. And so I got to swallow more pride than you. I gotta, and it's because you don't want to be, or I don't know. I'm speaking about a multitude of situations, but the consensus I've gotten is I've always had to just kind of, sorry. All right. Yeah, let's go. Because I'm driving the ship. We got to go where I have to go because I'm making the money, right? We have to go to this thing. We have to go to this event. I can't go to this event and you have a problem. So I need to clear the problem and make sure that we're straight before we go in here because I can't have any issues in here, right? I don't think that, on the other foot, it's the same.
You need to choose better. If you can't find a woman that can effectively communicate with you, you're making poor choices in women. Why are you choosing those women? Those women are so hard to find. Where you're the better communicator, like on average, than the women you're meeting, you're picking wrong. You're picking bad women. The average man is not a better communicator than the average woman. Again, scientifically, we're not. We're not. We're not more expressive. We're more likely to repress our emotions and our feelings. We don't have the language like women do to express themselves. Like just by every metric. But again, if you listen to what he said, he didn't actually talk about how he compromised any fucking thing. He just talked about his ego. He basically, that's the only thing he talked about. Like, oh, sometimes I have to swallow my pride. Oh my God, I got to compromise so much. That's what men think compromising is, swallowing their fucking pride. He couldn't articulate how he actually compromises in a relationship. Because men don't compromise shit in a relationship. Men don't compromise shit. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear shit about women not being built for the struggle and how men got to be so strong and benevolent. We are not. We are everything but that. Men are weak and feeble and fragile, and they just admitted it. We have an ego and your ego is fragile. You're not built for it. You're not built for the hustle. You can't have an ego when you got to hustle. You can't have an ego. You can't. You got to put all that pride aside. You got to grind. Women do it all the time. And they do it with a smile on their face the vast majority of the time. They just don't want to struggle with your bitch ass. And that's what pisses y'all off. The women are choosing to leave us alone and just be like, well, if I'm a struggle, I can do bad all by myself. Right?